I've already primed my skin using my Guerlain Gold primer. Now we're ready to try the Dior. This is the lightest shade. Can you believe that? That's really dark. So we'll see. I didn't really take a look at the color selection too well, so I don't know what the color selection is like for deeper skin tones. So right now I'm just using my Chikuhodo GSN 5. Didn't really think about using a sponge. I could have. It has a light scent to it, so a fragrance. The coverage looks like a medium to me. It's already drying down. It's a medium consistency, not very thin and not very thick. Let me do a second layer with a sponge. I'm going to use my Sephora dry sponge. Okay, so I definitely like how it applies with a sponge better than the brush. I think it keeps the coverage but looks more flawless. I can see it drying to be a more powdery type of finish. I'm doing more of a true first impression. I haven't read anything about this or seen any videos. None of my friends have tried it either. Not yet, at least. Man, that looks really pretty. Yeah, really pretty. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to try this for the first time, the YSL All Hrs Concealer, and this is also in the lightest shade. Again, not super light. Let's try that much. I definitely had some discoloration underneath the eyes. With my Sephora 57 brush, which is my favorite concealer brush, I'm just going to blend that out using a little patting motion. So it doesn't look like it has super full coverage, but it looks very natural. This is what it looks like so far. So I definitely like how this is blending out with a sponge a little bit better than a brush. I'm going to use a little bit of this concealer down the center of my face to brighten. I definitely felt like the foundation looked a little bit dry right around my mouth where I have some dry patches. Oh yeah, this concealer blends out so well with a sponge. It was streaking a little bit with a brush. Underneath the eyes, I'm not getting as much coverage as I would like. Let me go over it with another pass of concealer. The coverage still isn't full coverage. I can still see discoloration. Let's try one more. Got little purpley blue spots right around there still from lack of sleep. Try patting that in. I can also see that this concealer needs to be set with powder because it is movable. My under eyes don't look as smooth as they could be either. Probably because I went in with 3 layers of concealer. I'm going to use my usual powder, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Concealer Powder. Morphe R1 something, the number has rubbed off. Just a standard powder brush. It looks nice, but for somebody who needs a little bit more coverage, this is just not doing it. And when I set it with a powder, it's looking a little dry, which honestly, I mean, that's pretty normal for me, but with my favorite concealers, I won't see that. And this powder isn't doing that because this powder is absolutely phenomenal. But the foundation is looking good. Yeah, really pretty. A little dark. See if it changes or anything. Okay, for blush, I'm going to use the Too Faced Perfect Flush Blush in Peach Beach with a Wet n Wild brush. Wow, the blush is blending flawlessly over this foundation. Yeah, definitely has a really beautiful matte velvety finish. It's completely set now. I don't see any color change from when I first put it on. I'm not mad at it. I feel like if I had a little bit more of a tan, it would be perfect. I don't think it's picking up on camera. Also, I know I mentioned the scent in the foundation, the light fragrance. The concealer has a slight chemical scent, but nothing insane. This is what everything looks like. I don't know if you could see the texture of the concealer. It's not as smooth as I would like. It looks a little tiny bit heavy because of all the layers I put on, but the coverage just isn't doing it for me. I can still see some gray cast where my dark circles are. For the foundation, I think it looks really pretty. I put as little as possible and it still gave me really beautiful coverage. It looks really pretty. Okay, so I see just a little bit of dryness right around the nose and mouth, especially up in here. I don't know if you can see that texture. I do have a lot of dry patches, but it's not accentuating my pores. It feels really nice and set. All things pointing up. The concealer is $34 and the foundation is $52. I brought up the information for the Dior Forever Undercover 24-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. I do have mine in the shade 10 Ivory, which they describe as very light with neutral undertone. But it definitely has a neutral undertone, and I think very light, I think fair, and it is more of a true light shade. It comes with 1.3 fluid ounces, which is great, more than the normal amount. It says that this is suitable for sensitive, normal, dry, combination, and oily skin. It does have a matte finish. It's a water-based foundation with a 24-hour full coverage wear. It's supposed to feel very lightweight with a natural finish. And then for the YSL concealer, I have mine in number 1 Porcelain Fair Neutral Pink Undertone. It comes with 0.17 ounces or 5 milliliters. Claims are that has full coverage, good for sensitive, normal, dry, combination, and oily skin with a matte finish. 16-hour wear, and it's supposed to blur and erase imperfections, dark circles, blah blah blah. I'll see how this wears throughout the day and I will let you know what I think. So it's been about 8 hours. Everything is looking the same. I can still see my blush, highlight, bronzer, except for right around my nose. My foundation has worn off a little bit from blowing my nose. I have a runny nose. Also, I see just the tiniest bit of settling around my smile lines. I did reapply my lip, but besides that, I haven't touched it up at all. And the concealer is still in place, but I still see a gray cast. So if I use this concealer, I think it's really important for me to not only use my eye cream underneath, but also use a color corrector if I have discoloration, because it's not full coverage. The foundation is pretty baller. I think it has a beautiful finish. Let me zoom you in so you can see how it's dealing with my dry areas and the movement around my nose. So you can see how I wiped off some of the foundation from blowing my nose and around my mouth from eating, just a tiny bit, and then a little bit of dryness, especially right in here and on my chin. But everything is looking pretty smooth and nice. It definitely has a velvety matte finish, but not super dry. I really like it. It feels lightweight too. I don't feel like I'm wearing much at all. So overall, good, good, good. Wowee! I am on my 13th hour of wear. It's past 2 o'clock now a.m. and I'm exhausted, so I'm going to take off my makeup and call it a day. I am looking up close. Everything looks pretty good. I definitely have dryness, but it's not too bad. Everything has stayed put, even though I've been blowing my nose, and I think since my last check-in, everything is about the same. I do like the concealer. I think, you know, I think it was 0.17 ounces isn't a ton for the price, and it's not full coverage, but I think for a light medium type coverage, it's really pretty. And the foundation is pretty flawless. By the nose, it definitely started to collect a little bit. You know how it does. And some dryness. Excuse the Star Trek playing in the background. Yeah, I kept my bronzer, blush, and highlight going really strong. My main concern is my dryness. But I think for my skin, this is, I mean, it looks pretty good. I'm going to call it a night, but I hope that this wear test was helpful for you. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe, join my Cake Face family. Yeah, leave a comment in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.